Today we are finally going through a breakdown of how to use my budget tracker. It's a very quick overview, so listen to it on 0.5x, pause it when you need to, stop and look up anything that you don't understand. That's the biggest thing that I can recommend. If you hear me say something, you're like, oh, what does that mean? Stop the video, go look it up, come back to the video. If this video isn't helpful and you prefer to read and kind of look through things yourself, in the budget template, there are pages that tell you exactly how to use it, the exact steps that you need to take, and exactly how it works. So hopefully this helps and encourages you to purchase my template or just try and take control of your finances. That's really all I'm here to do. Okay, so when you first download the budget template, this should be the first page that you see. If it's not, click on it. It says README instructions/helpful info. Inside it gives you a breakdown of all of the steps that you should take to try and get your finances in order. And then on this side, it gives you some helpful definitions, terms, and info. Just a few definitions that I always want to go over is an FP, which is a financial plan, which is really just your budget. Fixed expenses are any expenses that typically remain the same every single month. Variable expenses are any expenses that change from month to month. And sinking funds is really just another word for savings, but it's a fund created to save or set aside money for something specific. This is also a really helpful page if you're someone that would prefer to read things. The one thing that I want to say is that if you're reading through this and there's any words or any concept that you don't understand, find the word that you don't understand and go look it up and then come back to it. Make sure that you really got it, then come back to it, because this will make sense if you understand everything that I'm talking about in here. So the color coding aspect of things isn't really necessary unless it's something that you want to do. I personally like to go through and color code things. So right here, each week when I get paid, I'll go through the column and I'll color code each expense. So if it's something that I'm paying, I change it to green. If it's something that I'm moving to a savings account or sinking fund, I change it to pink. These are just the colors that work for me. All of the colors are also up here until you kind of get used to it and get in the routine of it. The gray is anything that I leave in my account. This is good if you use multiple different accounts. So for me, I have my main checking account where everything comes in. Then I allocate, okay, what's being paid, what's being saved, and I move money to their accounts that they need to be in. But this is helpful because you can go through and highlight all of these items in gray. And I can see down here, okay, I need at least $808 in my checking account to make sure that my bills are covered. It's just a little simple visual way for me to know that I have enough money in the account. For larger bills, I typically will split them in half. So things like my rent, my phone bill, my car insurance, things like that, I split them in half usually, or allocate a certain amount per paycheck. For smaller bills, I typically just will put, it on one paycheck or the other. It's kind of like a game of Tetris, but for your money. I'll start with the master financial plan, and at the end, I'll talk about the debt repayment tracker and the sinking funds tracker. So in the master financial plan, you're only going to adjust these two columns. All of your expenses, your debt, your variable expenses, and your savings. Those are all going to be listed here. Again, it's all color coded, which you can use the color coding or not. It's totally up to you. It just is a visual cue for me to know these are my bills, these are my debt, yada yada. Okay, in this monthly column, you're also going to adjust these as well so that you know your monthly amount. These two columns are going to transfer into the rest of the spreadsheet into every single month. So you can adjust these here as you go. So this is where you would start. You would start by adjusting everything in here, listing all of your expenses and due dates, all of the monthly totals. That's where you're going to start. Depending on when you're watching this, you're then going to pop over to the correct month, which I'm filming this in June. And then the reason that these don't automatically populate, or I don't have them adjusted in the master financial plan, is that there's gonna be months where you're gonna wanna switch this and maybe take a little bit less out of this paycheck and take a little bit more from this paycheck for your rent, for example. There's going to be things that come up and you're going to need to kind of throw them in there here and there from month to month. I know it's a little bit annoying, it's a little bit extra work, but if you go through and you adjust one month, you can also copy and paste these two columns into the rest of the months. Again, I know it's a little bit inconvenient. It's just better in the long run that you can adjust these. Down here at the bottom of the financial plan or your actual budget is where you're going to see all of your income, the total amount that's allocated per paycheck, your total income, and then how much you have left to budget. This is where you're going to adjust. Let's say it's your 9 to 5 job. Let's say you work at Walmart. So you're going to put Walmart here. How much is your paycheck? Again, this is not adjusted in the master financial plan. You're going to enter this every single month. Another thing that you can just copy and paste from month to month. But again, the reason that I don't do that is some people aren't on a salary and their income changes. So it's good to be able to put in how much was your paycheck and then how much are you going to allocate for your paycheck. You can add your side hustle, your part-time job, any other income that you get. So any other income would be like, for example, if you get income tax back, or if you get GST or something, you could put that in there. So this calculates your total income right here. Based on whatever you've included here is going to adjust here for this is how much you have left to allocate. So let's say, okay, I'm going to put $100 towards my savings. Now I only have $87 left to budget. You get the point, hopefully. Now when it comes to tracking your expenses, this is probably one of the most important parts actually, especially if you don't know how much money you spend, especially if you're having trouble figuring out your variable expenses and how much to allocate. Doing this is probably one of the most important parts. So these are the categories I've broken things down into. You can adjust these to whatever you want to make them. There's quite a few columns if you have kids or whatever you want to track. You want to write the date, the store, and then how much you spent. You can also write what you spent money on. For example, if it was shopping, if you want to write, oh, you bought a purse, whatever. However you want to do it, it's really not that important. The how, it's more important that you do it. And then you're going to find out at the bottom how much you spent. I put in the monthly target. So like if someone allocates $200 every 2 weeks for groceries, they have $400 a month. They can go through and this will automatically calculate down here and subtract from your monthly target. So for example, let's say you spend $100 on groceries. Okay, great. You have $300 left to spend. I wouldn't worry too much about the monthly target in the beginning. This is kind of in the future when you're a little bit more established and you know how much you're spending. The most important part is to just start tracking your expenses so you know how much you're spending. The expense tracker in the monthly financial planner, honestly, very simple. If you get a third paycheck in the month, you can add it here. If you have additional income like a side job, or for example, when I get money from working with brands and it's a larger amount of money, not like $100 or something, I might add it in here and then allocate it however I want to allocate it. Now we're going to look at the debt repayment tracker, which is another fun one that I really love. And I started tracking my debt back in November of 2023. It was the best thing I did. There's quite a few spaces here for debt. Hopefully you don't have this many different debts that you're working on paying, but if you do, no judgment. Just add them all here. This is when you're going to put the date that you've updated it. So like, let's say I updated my balance today. I put today's date. It just is a visual cue. Again, this is not that important, but it's just a visual cue for me to be like, okay, I did update that I paid that debt balance. Your complete balance is going to be right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in the date that you've updated it, your total balance, your interest rate, and how much your minimum monthly payment is. Then down here, you're going to get an idea of how much you're putting towards debt each month at the minimum. The thing that you're going to probably work the most with is this section when you update your balances. I personally do it every single time I make a payment towards my debt. I update my balance. So if my car payment is coming out on Monday, I'm going to write the date of Monday, and then I'm going to update my new car payment or my new car loan balance, and it's going to update here. What you're going to do then is you're going to take this balance and you're going to type it in here. So my balance here is $10,000. Let's say on July 1st, my new balance is $9,500. Okay, great. Based on my quick math, you may have to start getting out a calculator when the numbers get a little bit different, but based on my quick math, I've paid off $500. So my balance has gone down $500. So for the purpose of keeping things visual, I would change this to green. If your balance goes up, you can change it to red. You don't have to, but this is a good way to track, and you don't even need to do the difference if you don't want to, but it's a good way to track how much you're paying off every single month. All of the instructions are here on the side, step 1, step 2, everything is there on the side. Now for your sinking funds tracker, the reason that I have this like broken down like this is because most people don't have a savings account that will give you little sub accounts. That's why I love Wealth Simple. This is not sponsored at all. I just love using Wealthsimple because it lets you break down, I think the maximum is 8 different accounts that you can have, but they're a high interest savings account, and you can have little subcategories and you can label each one as to what you're saving for. I love it because it's definitely very visual. I have a code for a $25 referral fee. We both get the referral bonus. And if you want to use it, you can. Anybody can refer someone. Again, it's not sponsored, but I'll put that information on the screen and in the description. So in here, you would list anything that you're saving for, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. You could be wanting to save for a purse. You could be wanting to save for a new vacuum. Add it in there. Why not? Again, with the date updated, it's not that important, but for me, I like to know, okay, I updated my account on this day. I've added the date there that I've updated it. I also will like to set a goal for myself and then whatever my balance is. The cool part is over here, it's going to automatically tell you how much you have left to save to reach your goal. Again, all of the instructions are here. Okay, so that is the breakdown of how to use my budget template. I know that was a very quick overview. I hope that I covered everything. Like I said, if there's anything that you don't understand, please go back and look it up. Watch this video a few times. I tried to make it quick because I know people's attention spans are snappy. We have to make it quick. Let me know if you have any questions.